Have you ever been absolutely bone deep certain of a memory the color of a childhood toy, the lyrics to a famous song, the death of a world leader, only to discover documented physical proof that you are impossibly wrong? And when you express this certainty online, you find you are not alone. Thousands, even millions, share your exact same false memory, down to the smallest detail. This is not simple forgetfulness. This is a phenomenon so pervasive, so consistently patterned, and so psychologically unsettling that it has been given a name that itself feels like a glitch: the Mandela Effect. Welcome to Method and Mystery. I'm your name, and today we are not exploring an external enigma, but an internal one. We are conducting a deep forensic audit of memory itself. We are bypassing the easy, SCFI answers of alternate realities and broken timelines to uncover the far more fascinating and complex truth buried within the architecture of the human brain. This is the Mandela Effect, a psychological deep dive. By the end of this investigation, you will understand why your mind confidently fabricates consensus with millions of strangers. You will see the specific cognitive traps that manufacture these false memories, and you will possess a new framework for understanding the fragile, collaborative story we call reality. This is not about what is real out there, but about how we construct real in here. If you're ready to have your most trusted instrument, your own memory, forensically examined, you need to subscribe to this channel. What we uncover today will change how you trust your own mind. Hit subscribe, and let's begin the dive. To understand the scale of this mystery, we must first catalog its bizarre consistency. The Mandela Effect is not random misremembering. It follows patterns, attacking specific, highly shared cultural touchstones. The namesake example: a vast number of people vividly recall Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison in the 1980s. They remember news reports, family discussions, the global mourning. The historical record, however, is unequivocal. Mandela was released in 1990, became president, and died in 2013. This profound disconnect birthed the term, coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome. But the examples are legion and strangely specific. In Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader never says, "Luke, I am your father." The line is, "No, I am your father." The iconic mirror on the wall from Disney's Snow White is actually magic mirror on the wall. The Berenstein bears are, and always have been, the Berenstein bears, not Berenstein. The fruit of the Loom logo never contained a cornucopia. The Monopoly man, rich Uncle Pennybags, has never worn a monocle. The Volkswagen logo has never had a gap between the V and the W. On a world map, many recall New Zealand being northeast of Australia, not southeast, and South America being far more eastward, not tucked directly under North America. These are not fringe beliefs. Poll your friends. You will find shocking agreement on these false details. The first question we must ask on Method and Mystery is the foundational one. Are millions of people independently making the same tiny, specific mistake? Probability says no. So, what is the common factor? It is not the external world which provides contradictory evidence. It must be the internal world, the human mind, and the social systems through which we share information. Our investigation, therefore, leads us not to CERN or quantum physics, but to the laboratories of cognitive psychology. Our first suspect is a powerful and well-documented cognitive process: confabulation. This is not lying. It is the brain's automatic, unconscious process of filling in gaps in memory with logical, plausible, or narratively satisfying information. Your memory is not a video recording. It is a reconstructive act. Every time you recall an event, you are not playing a tape. You are rewriting a story based on fragments, influenced by your current knowledge and expectations. Think of your brain as a brilliant, overzealous archivist. When it finds a file with missing pages, it doesn't leave a blank. It writes new pages that perfectly fit the tone and plot of the existing story. For example, Darth Vader's revelation is one of cinema's most famous lines. The meaning is, "I am your father." Our brains, when storing the emotional gist of the scene, prioritize that shocking meaning. Later, when reconstructing the exact quote, the brain's confabulatory archivist provides the most direct, impactful phrasing to convey that meaning. "Luke, I am your father." It smooths over the less impactful, grammatically correct setup word. No, the false memory is, in fact, a better, more efficient story. Similarly, mirror is more poetic and rhythmic than magic mirror. The cornucopia is illogical. symbolic container for fruit that our visual memory helpfully adds to the fruit of the Loom logo to give it context. The Monopoly Man is a caricature of a wealthy early 20th century tycoon. A monocle fits the archetype so perfectly our brain confidently accessorizes him. This is not a flaw. It's a feature of a system optimized for meaning, not fidelity, but confabulation alone cannot explain the consensus. Why do millions of brains confabulate in the exact same way? This brings us to our second, and perhaps most crucial, psychological mechanism, the power of schemas and scripts. A schema is a mental framework or template for understanding concepts. A script is a schema for how events unfold. We use them to quickly process the world without exhausting cognitive energy. We have a fast food restaurant, schema counter, menu, cashier. We have a horror movie, script teenagers, isolated location, ignored warnings. For the Mandela Effect, we are dealing with cultural schemas. We have a shared schema for evil father reveal that drops the no. We have a shared fairy tale schema that expects the poetic mirror. We have a schema for old-fashioned wealthy men that includes monocles. We have a schema for fruit logos that involves cornucopias or baskets. When our individual, fragile memories of these items degrade, we don't recall the data. We default to the shared cultural schema. The memory becomes standardized, like a product rolling off a mental assembly line. This is why the false memories are so uniform. We aren't remembering the thing. We're remembering the category of the thing, and our brains, using the same cultural blueprint, fill in the details identically. This process is supercharged by the third factor, social contagion and misinformation. We do not form memories in a vacuum. We talk. We read online comments. A single, confident assertion, Wade, doesn't the Monopoly Man have a monocle? Can act as a seed. It activates the schema. It becomes a suggestion that our reconstructive memory readily incorporates. On the internet, these suggestions spread at light speed, creating feedback loops of false consensus. What starts as a curious query becomes, through repetition and social reinforcement, a memory shared by an entire online community. The Mandela Effect is, in part, a digitally accelerated mass confabulation, where our brains use the same schemas and are poisoned by the same subtle suggestions. Now, let's apply our method and mystery toolkit to some of the most compelling cases to see these mechanisms in action. Take the Berenstain Bears paradox. For generations, those who grew up with the books would swear on their lives it was spelled Berenstein, pronounced Steen. The evidence says Stein. The psychological explanation here is masterful. First, we have phonetic dominance. Stein is a vastly more common ending in names: Einstein, Frankenstein, Berenstein. Stein is unusual. Our brain, when reading quickly as a child, automatically corrects the unusual to the familiar. It's a simple perceptual error that gets baked in early. Second, we have confirmation bias and social proof. Once the idea of the Berenstein memory is proposed online, anyone who had that initial phonetic misreading feels a shock of recognition. They seek out others who share it, reinforcing the belief that something strange must have happened, because the alternative that they all made a common reading error feels too trivial for such a strong sense of dissonance. The mind prefers a cosmic glitch to a mundane mistake. The fruit of the Loom cornucopia is a pure example of schema-driven confabulation. A cornucopia, or horn of plenty, is one of the most ubiquitous symbols of abundance and fruit in Western art, advertising, and education. It is the quintessential fruit basket. Our semantic network for fruit plus logo is densely connected to cornucopia when we try to recall the simple, somewhat abstract cluster of fruit in the actual logo. Our brain helpfully and almost universally supplies the expected symbolic container. It is a default setting. Some of the most chilling effects involve geographical shifts, like the position of New Zealand or South America. This taps into a different cognitive system, our mental spatial mapping. Most of us do not have photographic memories of world maps. We have rough, schematic mental maps built from glancing at classroom posters, globes, and simplified graphics. These maps are often distorted by focus and frequency. For many, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, the details of the South Pacific are fuzzy. When we learn later that New Zealand is southeast of Australia, it clashes with a vague, default mental placement that often puts it more directly east or northeast, a simpler, cleaner spatial relationship. The correct placement feels off because it disrupts our imperfect internal model. The shock comes not from reality changing, but from the sudden, jarring accuracy of reality confronting our lazy mental shorthand. This is the Mandela Effect in its essence, the collision between our efficient, gist-based, schema-driven internal world and the precise, often messier, external world of evidence, having dismantled the supernatural explanation by revealing the robust psychological machinery at work. We must now confront the deeper, more philosophical question this phenomenon raises. What does the Mandela Effect tell us about the nature of reality and truth in the digital age? This is where our investigation reaches its most valuable conclusion. The Mandela Effect is a powerful metaphor for our time. It demonstrates that what we hold as common knowledge or shared reality is frighteningly malleable. It is a consensus narrative, vulnerable to the flaws of individual perception and the distortions of social reinforcement. In an era of deepfakes, AI-generated media, and targeted misinformation campaigns, the Mandela Effect is a benign vaccination. It shows us, in a safe, cultural sandbox, how easily large groups of people can become convinced of an alternate set of facts, even when presented with direct evidence to the contrary. The emotional response, the visceral feeling that one's memory is correct and the world is wrong, is identical to that felt in more consequential debates. This phenomenon teaches us epistemic humility. It is a masterclass in questioning the infallibility of our own intuition and memory. The real effect is not a glitch in the universe. It is a revelation of the glitch-prone nature of human cognition and social truth-building. Therefore, the solution, the cure for the disorientation of the Mandela Effect, is not to believe in shifting timelines, but to upgrade our mental software. It is to adopt the very principles this channel is built upon: source tracing, evidence hierarchy, and cognitive skepticism. When confronted with a shocking memory dissonance, the methodological response is to 1. Interrogate the source of the memory. Is it a vivid personal recollection, or feeling reinforced by online discussion? 2. Seek physical, contemporary evidence. Find the original VHS tape, the childhood book, the old advertisement. Not a digital copy that could be altered, but the physical artifact. 3. Understand the cognitive defaults. Ask yourself, what is the simpler, more common, or more narratively satisfying version? That is likely what your brain has defaulted to. By applying this process, you move from passive experiencer of mystery to active investigator of your own perception. This journey into the collective mind is the core mission of method and mystery. We use the tools of reason and evidence to explore the territories of the unexplained, not to dismiss wonder, but to find the more profound wonder in the mechanics of our own existence. The Mandela Effect is not proof of alternate realities. It is proof of the astonishing, creative, and fallible reality-generating engine inside your skull. If this deep dive has shifted your understanding from "the world is wrong" to "my perception is fascinatingly flawed," then you have just upgraded your most important tool. To continue this work with me, to explore more mysteries of the mind, history, and technology with this analytical lens, you need to be part of this community. Hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you are telling the algorithm you crave content that challenges easy answers and delves into the mechanics of mystery. You are joining a search for durable truth in a world of shifting perceptions. Click the bell, because our next investigation applies this same rigorous psychology to an even more contentious phenomenon. We will be deconstructing the world of psychic mediums and cold reading, revealing the powerful linguistic and observational techniques that create the illusion of supernatural knowledge, and exploring why we are so profoundly wired to believe the greatest mystery you will ever encounter is not out in the world. It is the 3-pound universe behind your eyes, constantly writing and rewriting the story of everything. The Mandela Effect is just one of its most famous plot twists. Stay curious, but trust the evidence over the echo. This has been Method and Mystery.